Hi, Zizaran here with another video, and I just wanted to make a video about my deaths this league. There's been 3 so far, and I figured I might as well go over them for some cheap extra content. For reference, I generally die on hardcore on average per 150 hours played. That means that I normally have between 3 and 5 deaths per league lately. Probably the most I ever died was 12 deaths in Metamorph or something, or 10 deaths in Metamorph. Something like that. So, not too bad, I would say. We can look at my first death, which was to Uber Dodri. So, this is Dodri, and this is in Act 8, and as you can see here, this is a bug where she basically has a multi-strike, and her slam goes off before her animation, and it goes off 3 or 4 times. Now, you might be wondering, well, Ziz, you knew that it was bugged, and you've actually survived almost dying here. Why did you go back in? Well, so this was very early in the league. I guess I felt like my life loss reactions would be fast enough that I could maybe survive it, as well as GGG normally haven't been that fast at fixing these things. So I didn't want to get stuck in Act 8 and just live here for a while. In hindsight, I should have, since this got fixed around 10 minutes after I died. So just poor gamble on my part on thinking it wouldn't get fixed. But you know, not much to learn from this. Can't die from that again. Next up, we have the build that I won 3rd in the race event with. This is insanely tanky. It's 90 max all res, loads of armor, loads of evasion, loads of everything except chaos res. And at some point, when you're this tanky, you start feeling immortal. And chaos damage in Path of Exile traditionally hasn't been very dangerous, because the game is already assuming that you're going to have minus 60 or minus 30, right? It's only kind of this patch and lately that it has been starting to get more dangerous. And I click a Chaos Altar here. I've clicked a Chaos Altar, which is Fizz as extra Chaos. And that was a big mistake because I actually have like minus 30 here, or minus 7. Minus 7? I think I'm minus 7. I can't remember. Minus 30 or minus 7. And this little fucker one-shots me. We can look at the stats. It's called a Molten Minotaur. So the Molten Minotaur, and they are always very dangerous. This same thing would likely happen with even Fizz's extra fire, because later we have other players die with 75 chaos rest and 40 chaos rest and even tankier characters. So it just seems like the Fizz's extra on these monsters are incredibly dangerous. And then I was like, okay, I'm just going to completely avoid Fizz's extra chaos. And you can see that it wasn't a crit because A, I'm not ignited, and B, my glove enchant doesn't go off. But either way, I felt like it was pretty crazy that a blue monster would auto-attack me down like this. If it was like the final part of a slam, I would kind of get it, but it was still like the opening auto-attack. And then I tried running around a little bit in Fizz's extra fire maps with damage on the map and minus 30 fire rest. And I wasn't getting one shot. Like, no monster was just like love tapping me to death. But either way, I felt like it was still my mistake, like doing this with Chaos, and I was like, you know what, let's just not do Chaos again in the future. So, here in the next death, here I'm clicking 2 altars. I'm clicking one with Fizz's extra fire, another that does nothing, and do remember that I am playing with Wrath of the Cosmos on. Now, some people might think I'm insane for playing with that on hardcore. The recommendation was actually from Ben himself, because he plays with it too. It's a good way to get a lot of those currencies, right? And the way I thought of it was, so I play another event called the Gauntlet, and in the Gauntlet we have 100% increased damage taken. So that's the same as clicking 4 altars, and that's just in every map. And in the Gauntlet, I'm pretty comfortable doing 1 damage mod, right? So I'll either have the 100% that's on the map normally, and then I'll either do monster damage or a Fizz's extra, and I only avoid crit and I avoid multiple projectiles. So with that being said, I already feel pretty confident, right? This is a character that I know I would feel comfortable playing in the Gauntlet. So that's how I justified it myself, feeling okay with clicking 2 altars. I, in fact, in most maps, were okay with clicking 4. Because the way I'm like, when I click 4, I'm like, okay, I'm now in the Gauntlet. Everything is super dangerous. I need to play very carefully. But on 2, I'm like, this is just a rippy map. Now, what happens next, you actually have to slow down to understand what killed me. So, there's sort of like 3 realizations. My first, I'm like, oh my god, what the f killed me? And then I'm like replaying it, And I'm like, oh my god, I stand in a bunch of bears and I fucking die. I'm such an idiot, but I mean, it is really hard to see the floor. I sure wish visual clarity was better in Path of Exile. But then I'm like, wait a minute, these do like nothing. They in fact only do like between 500 to 1000 damage each. And I've stood in several before, as much as 8, without it actually hurting me that much. And they're very easy to flash through most of the time. And then I play it in 0.25 speed. And that's when I see him. That's when I see him. He starts over here. And he sees me. And he leaps. And he scores! So as you can see, these are very, very dangerous monsters. And they're called Void Jaguars. They are also, similar to the Molten Giant thing, a conversion monster. So this is its leap attack. This is what killed me. A base damage of 1762. And then on top of that, it deals 60% more attack damage. And on top of that, 175% more damage. And then physical damage converted to cold damage. And on top of that, I had Sentinel. So that's the big difference between the Gauntlet. And obviously the Gauntlet has 100% increased damage and a damage mod, like I said. So technically slightly rippier mods. We fight these in the Gauntlet. They do not one-shot us. They just do a lot of damage and you should be scared of them. But obviously they're not doing clean one-shots. So the big difference here is we have Arch Nemesis. The Molten Giant was affected by Deadeye, which I think is can't miss or something, and increased crit chance. But as is increased crit chance, we don't think it was a crit because my 11 chance would have gone off. But I don't know what the monster that killed me had. It could have had an Arch Nemesis mod. We do not know. But it does have Sentinel. And that is the big difference between Gauntlet. So maybe just Sentinel becomes this insane more multiplier that we don't fully know what is. Some people have been theorizing it's 1% more damage per empowerment. But we don't fully know what it is. But either way, with a 60% more attack damage here, 175% more attack damage here, it's just death. Guess I'll die. That's pretty much it. Just those two monsters. And it's only the two red ones that have that. The blue altars don't have any monsters similar to this. So like Ben said, he felt very comfortable doing Physis Extra on the blue one and running the altar node. But on the red one, he won't anymore. So it's a little crazy. It's a little overtuned. I don't fully know if it's accurate. And maybe it's just the Sentinel breaking it, but I will not be clicking any more red Fizz as extra altars. That being said, live and learn. I am now going to... I think my Twitch title is going to be Innocent Altar Boy Gets Destroyed by Demons. And yeah, Altar Boy is my name now. That's my analysis of what happened. Don't click the altars. They hurt. Either way, hope you guys enjoyed watching the analysis. And just a brief overview of what happened. Thanks for watching. Sub if you liked the video, but more importantly, try to die less than I do.